So, in terms of where the South Side, Chicago's South Side was, the African American migrants resided in a segregated zone, which extended from 22nd Street on the north to 63rd Street on the south, and reaching from the Rock Island Railroad tracks to the west Cottage Grove Avenue on the east. Um, I'm not familiar with Chicago, so for those of you who know better or have friends who are from Chicago or have lived there for an extended period of time, you know exactly the parameters of what I'm speaking about, right? And this zone area was known as the quote unquote black belt or the quote unquote black ghetto. Sounds familiar, like like akin to what was going on in Harlem. Pretty much kind of a similar thing. But I digress. Um, Also, too, the main professions of the black community in Chicago were in like meat packing plants, steel mills, garment shops, and doing domestic work in private homes. However, here is where the Great Depression comes in. After the 1929 stock market crash in New York, that led to the Great Depression throughout the country, and thousands became jobless. So it was a real hard economic time in the United States. Miss Sylvia, good evening. Welcome on in, fam. Good to see you. Welcome in. So it was a lot going on, but despite all of that, these two events, the Great Migration and the Great Depression, helped to create space for the black population in Chicago to reintroduce themselves. I'm gonna take a little line from Jay Z in a more positive light. So much so, and now I'm going to get to the visuals you see on your screen right now. It took me a little time, but trust me, I always get there. Y'all just roll with me. Y'all know how I do. Those of you who rock with me on the regular. Um, those living, so those who were living on the South Side created and coined the term Bronzeville, which described and identified the skin tone of the black community. Denise Jojo, good evening, my dear. Welcome on in. Are you from Chicago, Denise? Please verify. And if not, my apologies. But good evening. Good to see you, fam. Welcome in. So this is where the term Bronzeville came in, and they used that to, uplift themselves and speak life and positivity to themselves. So I put up these two pictures here. Um, oh, Detroit. Okay, okay. Thank you, Denise. For some reason, I was thinking Chicago. My apologies. So yeah, so just to show, like, the pride that they took in themselves. The young boys on your left hand side there on the car. It was very similar in spirit to what was going on in Harlem. The only way I was able to differentiate the difference was the license plate on the very bottom left hand. The C, it said Illinois and not New York. And then on the right hand side there, I believe there was like a gathering group of like meeting of the minds, a lot of like literature, poetry, art, all of that. So many things were going on. So just to show, like, the even though they were struggling, so to speak, they didn't let their circumstances define them. You know. So so blues is a more somber tone of life and work that was based in the Mississippi Delta that migrated to Chicago. So it's very similar to jazz, but you get more of the like emotional side of things. So like more of like the heartache, the pain, the grit, the struggle, that kind of stuff, right? So yeah, guys, that is the meat and potatoes, if you will, of the Chicago Renaissance, the Chicago edition of the Black Renaissance. Um, yeah, so definitely thank you guys for rocking with me as we close out season 2. Definitely want to end things on a nice, sweet note. I definitely appreciate you guys for tuning in with me for all of the special episodes and guests that we had throughout the season. It's definitely been great. Um, I'm just really blessed and thankful for the growth and development. And, definitely stay tuned to what season 3 will bring. That'll be sometime in 2024.